Do you want a new go-to food? Well, today is your lucky day because I am going to be teaching you how to make my go-to food. A pasta dish with my own easy-to-make sauce. Now, to do this, we can't be in my sister's bedroom. We have to be in the kitchen. So let's go there. Now that we're in the kitchen, we should do two things. Put our hair into a ponytail and put an apron on. The ponytail helps to keep your food safe from stray hairs flying into your food. You wouldn't want some of your hairs to damage your perfectly made dish. Apron helps to keep your outfit clean. And if you have long sleeves like I do, I would suggest to roll them up because we're dealing with a sauce that gets hot, so it might spurt out onto you. After we've done those two things, the next thing we have to do is find a pot. I chose this pot because of the rubber handles it has. Our first step when it comes to spaghetti will be to fill the pot up with water. Now, when you're thinking of how long should I leave the water running with it, it's not very long. I suggest that you fill the pot up to around where the handles are. After you've done that, you need to put it on the stove. If you have an electric stove like me, I would suggest putting it on one of the bigger pots because we'll need the smaller ones for later. And now you'll turn the oven up to 8 to max. As we wait for that to boil, we should get a strainer, some pasta, another smaller pot, and what you need for your sauce. This is the strainer that I'll be using. I'll set the strainer in the sink while I wait for it to boil. And we have a while until we have to use this, but it's just always nice to be prepared. I'll be using some thin spaghetti from the company Barilla. Now here's our smaller pot for the sauce. I like this one because it has a non-stick grip and it has pourers. Now, when I said that the sauce was easy to make, I meant it. It has 2 ingredients. Rao's Homemade Marinara. I like this brand because it just tastes better than other brands that I've tried. And some Philadelphia Original Cream Cheese. Now, when you think of this combination, you might think it's not going to taste good, but I assure you that it tastes amazing. Before I get into the seasoning I like to put into my sauce, it looks like the pot has started boiling. So let's put the spaghetti into it. Although the Italians hate it, I break my pasta. And then you just put it in. After you put it in, you want to set the oven to around 4 and turn on a timer of 20 minutes. Now, if it's on a higher level, you'll want to tone this timer down, but I have found that 20 minutes works best for most pastas. Now back to the sauce. I like to put in some rosemary, some thyme, some basil leaves, some black pepper, some pink salt, and a Greek seasoning called Yaya bees. And now we wait for the pasta to cook. When the timer's at about 10 minutes, we can move on to the sauce. Remember when I told you to use the smaller burner for something else? Well, this is something else. So you're going to want to put this on the smaller burner. Then you'll want to pour a little bit of your Rao's marinara, just enough so that it covers the bottom. This is what we're looking at. And you'll want to get a knife from your cupboard and get your cream cheese. And you'll put off little sections of it, like so. See how thick that is? That's a thicker piece. That's more of the type you want. If it's too big, then it won't melt. And you'll put about 4 of those in. Less if you did bigger pieces, more if you did smaller. You'll turn the burner on to high. And then you'll go get a fork. You'll use this fork to mix the cream cheese around the rows until you can't tell the difference. This is what it should look like. After you see that, so you don't burn it, you should turn it down to about like 5. After it looks like that, you should turn it down to about 3, where you'll be adding your seasoning. But before we add the seasoning, it looks like we've got about a minute left on our timer, so we'll just turn that off and get this ready to be strained. Now, we'll flip it slowly so that the water can get out of the pot before we flip it entirely. Once you've done this, you can put your pot at the back of the stove on one of the burners that we did not use. Then, you should pour cold water into the spaghetti. This prevents it from sticking together when you put it into the fridge. Once all the water's out, you can now put it back into your pot. And you'll use about a teaspoon of salt for the sauce. Back to the sauce. We'll do a half teaspoon of rosemary, thyme, and basil. We'll use a half teaspoon for the pepper and the Greek seasoning. And then you start mixing. And when you're done mixing, now we can put it all together on a plate. We'll use tongs to get the pasta and put it into the bowl. Then when you're done putting the pasta in the bowl, it's time for your sauce. Then what I like to do is put a little bit more cream cheese on the top. This just acts as a good filler. Instead of Parmesan, I use cream cheese. This is the finished product. Now back to my sister's bedroom for the conclusion. Now that we're back in my sister's bedroom, I would like to begin this conclusion paragraph by saying today I taught you how to make my favorite pasta dish. You make this by boiling the water, making the sauce, seasoning the dish, and putting finishing touches on it. I hope you can all go home and make this for yourself. It is truly one of my favorite dishes, and I hope that you all take a try at it.